I'm Paul Dornian, and I was the director of the Mount Royal Conservatory for many years, and was as part of that job, the director of Music Bridge for the first 19 years of its existence. It's a very accepting and very supportive environment. And it always, I love it when I go to the student concerts and they hoot and they holler and they cheer and they stomp their feet and they really let the performers know they're appreciated. It's also a time of life for performers where you're never going to go out there and get it right every time. This is the time when you push the boundaries and when you shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes.
Go. That's right. Third frequent there. Yes. Don't worry about that. Go there. And why do you break it? Yeah, it's good.
Everything is subjective in art. And you will find, if you study with one teacher, they'll say, do it this way. And then the next week you'll play the same thing for somebody else and they'll say, no, I think you should do it this way. Or have you thought about this?
I think because it's heavier, also it's almost like an aura of a sound.
Yeah.
Right now, an aura of a person, you feel like there is some kind of a ring around it. I think in some ways, when you don't play with weight, the sound is a bit dry.
Okay.
It almost feels like there is no ring.
A long time ago in Spain, it was a very bad time. The head of the church, they said, if you don't believe the way we believe, we will torture you. They would put the man on a big wheel, and then they would turn the wheel. So it was each time they turned it, more and more painful. So when you come to the trills here, think about that.
And going through and getting that diversity of opinion can be initially confusing, but is tremendously enriching. It really forces you to wrestle and come to your own answers.
As someone who came out of the conservatory in China myself, I think I understand how it could be beneficial for the students to see a lot of different sides of making music. Classical music, it is getting very, very popular in Asia. However, it is still a tradition coming from the West. So coming to the West and have some kind of idea how Westerners think about music is very important for the development of the young students, especially for the 12 to 18 age group, because that's when most musicians form their mentality of how music making works.
And the intensity comes from trying to put a similar amount of opportunity into 1 month as many of those students would get in a full year somewhere else if they were a full year of their usual studies. I remember being told by one of the early students in the program that in their school, during the course of an entire year, they had the opportunity to perform 3 times. And It was the third week of the program at that point, and they'd already gotten up and performed 7 times. The concerto competition benefits the students by being immediately, as soon as they get to Music Bridge, because it's more or less the first thing that comes off and happens, an opportunity to get up there and really go for it. I think that you really learn from that, from getting up in a somewhat stressful situation and seeing what you can do and really trying to push the boundaries. For the students who succeed in the competition and get to the finals, it's another great performance experience. Some years they get to perform with an orchestra. We always try and find, whoever is the winner of the competition, or sometimes some of the winners, opportunities outside of Music Bridge to perform with orchestras. So students have to invest a lot in it. It also gets the program off with a bang. Everybody gets there, and right away they're into this intense preparation for the concerto competition. So no time to sort of slowly edge your way into the program. You got to come out running. We started doing a regular commissioning program and trying to find composers that were willing to write really great music that would challenge young people and expand the repertoire. Again, these are 12 to 18-year-olds, and many of them don't have that much experience with new music yet. That usually comes later. So this is an opportunity for them to work on new commissions, often with the composer present, have those discussions, see how a piece evolves and how the creative process works. Krzysztof Penderecki, I think, is certainly in the discussion as the most prominent and important composer today. So having him at Music Bridge, and that happened when we were in Gdańsk, was really terrific. We had a master class with string students performing various of his string works, and to be able to sit down with the composer and say, well, that's wonderful, and that's not what I intended there, that you really shouldn't do it that way. The vision, call it a whim or an indulgence with a great purpose. And my friend Andy Chan and I decided it would be fun to do something on a big scale that was international and brought together absolutely world-class young people, musicians and faculty, from all over the world. It had started with a very small project where Andy and I had been in Shanghai visiting the Shanghai Conservatory, and we brought 2 students over. Andy sponsored them to come in the summer of 1996 and just cobbled together a program for them. And we had so much fun doing that, we were actually out fishing, and Andy said, what if we were to do something like that on a bigger scale? When we started the program in 1997, China had not opened up educationally the way it has now. And we still had situations where students didn't have this type of international opportunities they do. This was going to be, and was, the very first opportunity for many of the original students in Music Bridge to even leave the country, much less be involved in an international music situation.
I was a viola student at Morningside Music Bridge from 1999 to 2001. I remember my first trip to Calgary as a student, and I remember getting to Vancouver, and I think we had a meal together. I still have a photo of that meal. I remember the sky was so blue, and the air was, I just immediately felt like we were really not in China anymore.
We decided to do it as a 3-year project, and here we are 20 years later, and it's still going strong. It was the 20th anniversary festival, and on special occasions with Music Bridge, we've decided to celebrate by going to different parts of the world. For most of the first 20 years, the home was in Calgary at the Mount Royal Conservatory. In 2006, we did the 10th anniversary in Shanghai. In 2009, we were guests of the Polish Ministry of Culture and held a program in Gdańsk, Poland. And so for the 20th, we thought, what better place to go than to Beijing?
Morningside Music Bridge is an intensive training program, so the students have a very busy day curriculum, so having a social aspect becomes very important to find a nice balance. So we try and incorporate on a weekly basis at least 2 activities to help the students communicate, get to know each other, form friendships, form bonds.
The single most satisfying thing about the success of Music Bridge is that 20 years later, we're seeing students who came together from different countries and different cultures who are still very close friends and still very much in touch with and often making music together with colleagues from totally different countries and cultures that they met at Music Bridge.
There's always the fun things that all 12 to 18-year-olds want to participate in. But we also want to do some, showcase the place where we are at. When we were in China, the Great Wall, a lot of the history, the museums, the temples, Forbidden City. So we don't want it to be just around the school walls. We want them to really feel the place that they're actually coming to study at.
I think for me, coming back to teach in 2007 and for the last 9 years, I have seen a lot of changes. Most difference, I guess, the program is now definitely a lot more international. It used to be mostly just Canadian and Chinese, but now if you come to visit Morningside Music Bridge, you hear a lot of different languages.
I think the basic values and goals of the program have remained consistent, which is just to be as uncompromising as humanly possible about talent and about quality.
And the other change is that because the program is obviously getting older, some of our earlier alumni are coming back to contribute, shall we say. So someone like myself or Ning Feng or Bo Nian or Yu Wei, or we come back and then we teach a little bit.
That's fine. Good excuse.
MMB now in its going into its 21st year is starting to see a lot of faculty that were MMB alumni, and we're fortunate enough that we can invite them to come and teach. There's nothing, I think, for the students to see someone who has come through the program is now, teaching and mentoring.
I don't know of any other programs like this that have been held on 3 different continents in a variety of cities and operated so successfully.
It started out as a partnership just between Canada and China, and it's grown into a global program now.
So we were in Beijing this summer. Next summer we're going to be in Boston at the New England Conservatory. Discussions are underway about returning to Poland possibly 2 years from now. I think there's a commitment from everybody involved to try and make sure that this program doesn't just get to 20 years, but gets to 50 and 100 and however many. We think it's that important.